Welcome to This Week in Moto. This is the rapid news show from around the world. And the big story of, the week in Moto is actually whether or not the Coenen brothers are coming to America to kick everyone's booty in Southwick, where everyone is going to run the spec scoop tire. I mean, they're not going to run anything else, but they might as well just run the scoop tire. However, this is some interesting rumors that are happening because if you look at their Instagram is pretty funny because they're falling into it, saying, "Hey, look who is training in sand today, Southwick Prep, Lucas Coenen, Fast Kids." And then, they're putting on here. And I've also seen some other stuff from them as far as having USA on there. And unfortunately, realistically, they are not coming. Bad news is just that. Okay. Michael Lindsay, he was basically saying that he talked with KTM and they said that it's not happening. They also said that their agent said something without proper authorization or go ahead. And truthfully, like if you look for, I thought I had their results up here. Oh yeah, you do. If you look at the entry list, these guys should be on the entry list for Southwick, and they are not on there. I mean, truthfully, the number 96 is actually Hunter Lawrence's, so it's not actual Lucas Coenen's over here in America. But it'd be cool if they were over here. I don't believe it's actually going to happen. And for you guys that are up at freaking midnight, good for you. I appreciate it. Joining the live show. So that's probably the big rumor that has happened, and we're not going to see it at all. It would be cool to see Sasha go ahead for battling with Deegan. We got Sprocket here, but that's not going to happen either. It would make things more exciting because truthfully, Deegan is just going to own the 250 class. Like, come on, Joe, let's do something. I want to see Shimoto. And then my boy, Tom Vial, he needs to do something as well. And if we fast forward to the MXGP stuff, because they've got a week off, so it would make perfect sense for them to come over here. However, Kyle Wolf, the defending champion there at Great Britain, which they're not allowed to sell alcohol there anymore, which is interesting. I did report on that last week that Great Britain is not allowed to sell alcohol. Like, how do you come to a motocross race and then not sell alcohol? It seemed unconstitutional, but that's funny because it's not actually in America. So that's a pun on for something that I'm going to talk about here later because this is the Rapid News Show. Anyway, Kyle Wolf ended up taking out Valerino Latia, who's a junior world champ. And here it says that he just lost the ass end, but honestly, it looks like he was just scrubbing and it scrubbed a little too hard and he had to ditch the motorcycle. To me, this looks as if he was set up just to scrub and he ends up scrubbing way too hard and he's not going to make it. That looked like an impressive whip that you're just showing off to the fans, gone wrong. And if we look at his results, well, he finished 7th in Moto 1 and then he finished 8th in Moto 2 with Simon winning and Liam Efforts in 2nd. For the big boys of MXGP, is it having here? MX. Oh, I got to change it up here. Thanks for joining the live show. If you guys are here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And also make sure you check out CoachRobStore.com. What is it again? Store. Yeah, see, I should have that there, right? Because we go to their fancy products page, and this is something that I use all the time, is their energy fuel. This stuff is delicious. Okay, I love the watermelon and the pink lemonade. It has the perfect amount of carbohydrates and calories, depending upon what you do, an hour to 3 hours worth of work. This stuff is delicious. So make sure you go to CoachRobStore.com and check that out here. While I was in the middle of MX1, okay, because you have Hurlings. He's coming back. As far as the classification, Lucas Coenen, he's not too far behind Roman Febvre. Okay. And so it would be cool to have him over here, but I don't think he is coming to the United States. But if I look back at this last race here, Lucas was third in Moto 2 and he was second in Moto 1. Glenn won the first one, and then Febvre won the second one. And if I'm moving over, there's been some debate as far as this stuff. And like, I'm a huge believer that I would say proponent towards, sorry, I got to chuck my cat because he keeps wanting to be in here. I believe that we shouldn't have as much starting devices that we have. If you've seen some of my Instagram videos of the starting blocks, it's getting out of hand. And this is just adding to it. Just, you have factory Kawasaki doing this stuff for the forks. And I just kind of think that this stuff should be outlawed. Right. And then the metal gates, sure, if we're going to have the metal gates, but then let's not have all the step stools. And then, you know, you have the RPM limiter on the front. It's becoming less and less about skill and more about technology, because I had Bobby Fong on the channel this week in a podcast, and he was telling me, and congratulations to Bobby. This was his first year on a factory team. So excited to see if he's going to end up winning this championship. I'd like to see him. Was supposed to have Josh Herron on the channel as well, because, you know, I want to talk to some more road racing guys. However, I'm digressing. The interesting thing of what Bobby was talking about was he was saying that the motorcycle in road racing does so much, where it's not as much on talent as it is on what kind of bike you have. Yeah, talent is still there, but the bike is so important. And with this stuff I see on MXGP and the starting blocks and all this stuff, it just starts to seem as if we're getting into the era of where it's less about just straight up talent, and you got to have the right equipment. And I do believe that it's been that way for a lot. And hey, appreciate you guys, because Sprocket is coming right back up here. Hey, dude, I know you just want to be on the live show, right? 15-year-old cat, been through hell, but he's done well. So I want to know what you guys think as far as, should this stuff be outlawed, or should we just let them have a full-on works race? Maybe in the MXGP stuff, yeah, let it happen, because it is just works bikes. There's this big issue between Prado here in America. And personally, you know, I was talking with Jace with Gypsy, and we had a good conversation about it as well, is that I think it's Kawasaki's fault, not Prado, as to why he's doing as bad as he's doing. So make sure you check out that podcast as well. And when it comes to the road racing guys, they've got round 4 coming up here, and Bobier is winning, you know, on his BMW. Josh Herron is in second, the defending champ on the Ducati. Bobby Fong and Jake Gagne are on that Attack Yamaha. They are looking to try to dethrone the guys in front of them. So we'll see what happens. They're doing 2 races on, I believe it's Saturday and Sunday, about 12 laps each, about 45 minutes. So we'll see what that goes. I'd like to try to go to round 5, but at Laguna Seca, but we will see. I think that it would be good content there and go from there. But kind of the last big thing that has just hit the interwebs, okay, is the European Commission approved Liberty Media's acquisition of MotoGP. And what is this? Liberty Media in 2017 bought F1 for around $8 billion. Yeah, this is as much as what Star Wars was sold to Disney for. $8 billion. And then you have Netflix get involved with the Drive to Survive and a bunch of other stuff. But now that, I would say that IP, that intellectual property, is now worth $27 billion since their acquisition in 2017. That is crazy. So with knowing that information, them buying MotoGP, and what did they buy MotoGP for? They bought MotoGP for 4.2. So realistically, half of what they bought F1 for. So you know that these guys, and it's a American company. These guys are expecting them to either double or triple or quadruple their initial investment. So we're probably going to see massive changes with MotoGP. And there's been a huge argument whether or not MotoGP should be more like F1. And then a lot of people are saying, no, it shouldn't. We don't want 4 rounds in America. And yeah, we don't want ticket prices going to the moon and whatnot. However, it seems like things are leaning somewhat towards that with them buying MotoGP for $4.2 billion. Freaking crazy. I'm a little bit tickled, it would be the right word, because of the fact that I'd love to have another Drive to Survive, but for MotoGP. I mean, here in just a couple weeks, you've got the Unchained with the Tour de France, which I love the behind the scenes of that stuff, which is amazing. And also got to give it up to my buddy Jace for his video series that he wants to do for Behind, where he was riding with Cole Davies. That was awesome to watch. You know, I know how much money he spent to produce that, and it was very well done. So make sure you go check that out, because it's a 45-minute documentary on his YouTube channel, and it's great. It is absolutely amazing. Well done. Those guys work great. And I'd like to see him get more into the production side of things like that, not just the podcast. But that's what we're looking for this week in Moto with the rapid news. I try to keep it under 10 minutes, but it is at 12 minutes. So all you two-wheel SOBs, make sure you just WFO that subscribe button. Until next time. Bra da 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 da.